Welcome back to Philosophy Unpacked, the show where we break down complex ideas into clear, engaging conversations. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Ben. Today, we're diving back into Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, specifically a chapter called The Higher Man.
That's right, and this is a big one. It's where Zarathustra addresses the very people he hopes will carry humanity forward, these higher men.
So who are these higher men? Are they geniuses, artists, leaders? What's the definition here?
It's a mix of all of those, but fundamentally, they are individuals who feel alienated from modern society and its values. They're striving for something more.
And Zarathustra has some pretty intense advice for them. He starts by talking about a mistake he made.
A huge mistake, a great folly, as he calls it. He says, "When I came unto men for the first time, then did I commit the anchorite folly. I appeared on the marketplace."
The marketplace. In Nietzsche's work, that's always a symbol for the public square, for mass culture and popular opinion, right?
Exactly. He went to the masses, and he says, "When I spake unto all, I spake unto none." Nobody understood him. He was left feeling like a corpse among corpses.
A pretty bleak start. So what did he learn from this?
He learned a new truth. He says he learned to ask, "Of what account to me are marketplace and populous noise and long populous ears?"
He's basically saying, why should I care what the crowd thinks?
Precisely. And this is his first lesson for the higher men. On the marketplace, no one believeth in higher men.
Why not? Is it just jealousy?
It's more fundamental than that. The populace, as Nietzsche puts it, blinketh and says, "We are all equal."
Ah, so the very idea of a higher man is an offense to the ideology of the marketplace, which insists on universal equality.
Yes, the crowd says there are no higher men. We are all equal. Man is man. Before God, we are all equal.
But then Nietzsche drops one of his most famous and most explosive lines.
He does. He says, "Before God, now, however, this God hath died. Before the populace, however, we will not be equal."
So he's rejecting both forms of leveling, the religious one, equality before God, and the secular one, equality before the masses.
And he tells the higher men, away from the marketplace. Your project cannot happen there.
This leads right into his next point, which is that the death of God isn't a tragedy for the higher men. It's an opportunity.
He calls God their greatest danger. It's a shocking phrase, but his logic is that the belief in a divine order and a higher realm devalued this world and this life.
So with God in the grave, as he puts it, humanity is free to create its own values? Is that the idea?
That's the core of it. He says, "Only since he lay in the grave have ye again arisen. Now only cometh the great noontide. Now only doth the higher man become master."
The great noontide. That's the moment of brightest light, the shortest shadow, the turning point for humanity.
It is, but he knows this is terrifying. He asks them, "Ye are frightened. Do your hearts turn giddy? Doth the abyss here yawn for you?"
Because if there's no God, no pre-written meaning, you're staring into a void, an abyss.
Exactly. But he urges them to take heart. He says that this is the moment the mountain of the human future is in labor, and the goal of that labor is the Superman.
Right. God hath died. Now do we desire the Superman to live. It's a declaration of a new goal for humanity.
And this sets up a crucial distinction. The most careful people of the day, he says, ask, how is man to be maintained?
How do we keep the species going, keep things comfortable, keep society stable?
But Zarathustra is the first and only one to ask a different question. How is man to be surpassed?
So it's not about preservation, it's about transformation. It's not about man as he is, but man as he could be.
Correct. He says, the Superman I have at heart, and not man, not the neighbor, not the poorest, not the sorriest, not the best.
That's a tough pill to swallow. It sounds incredibly anti-humanitarian.
It does, but he clarifies it. He says, what I can love in man is that he is an overgoing and a downgoing. Man is a bridge, not a destination.
A transition to something greater. And he sees signs of this potential in the higher men themselves.
Yes, and it's paradoxical. He says, in that ye have despised, ye higher men, that maketh me hope. For the great despisers are the great reverers.
So their contempt for the way things are is actually a sign that they revere something higher, something that doesn't exist yet.
And he says the same of their despair. In that ye have despaired, there is much to honor, for ye have not learned to submit yourselves.
Their despair comes from not being able to fit into the world of petty politics and petty virtues.
Exactly. He says the petty people have become masters today, and they preach submission, humility, diligence, and the long etc. of petty virtues.
Things like being considerate, working hard, not making waves.
Yes, and he sees this as a populist mishmash that wants to control human destiny. He expresses total disgust for it.
Because their primary question is just about maintenance. How is man to maintain himself best, longest, most pleasantly?
And he calls these people, these masters of today, the Superman's greatest danger. He commands the higher men to surpass them.
Surpass the petty virtues, the pitiable comfort, the happiness of the greatest number. It's a direct attack on utilitarianism.
Completely. He says, and rather despair than submit yourselves. He loves them precisely because they don't know how to live a comfortable, conventional life.
Because in that discomfort, in that struggle, they are living best. They're pushing humanity forward.
This leads him to the question of courage. Have ye courage, O my brethren? Are you stout-hearted?
But he's not talking about the usual kind of courage, is he?
No. He says, not the courage before witnesses, but anchorite and eagle courage, which not even a god any longer beholdeth.
So a private courage, a courage you have when no one is watching.
The courage of a hermit or an eagle. He says true courage isn't found in cold souls, mules, the blind, and the drunken.
So what is it then? How does he define it?
He says, he hath heart, who knows fear, but vanquisheth it, who seeth the abyss, but with pride.
It's not about being fearless, it's about knowing fear and overcoming it. Seeing the void but facing it with pride, not terror.
And he completes the metaphor. He who seeth the abyss, but with eagle's eyes. He who with eagle's talons graspeth the abyss. He hath courage.
Wow, not just seeing it, but actively engaging with it, grasping it. That's a powerful image.
It is. Now, we get to one of the most challenging and easily misunderstood sections.
I have a feeling I know which one. Does it involve the word evil?
It does. He starts by saying that the wisest ones told him, for consolation, that man is evil.
Okay, that's a classic pessimistic or religious view.
But Zarathustra's take is different. He says, if only it be still true today, for the evil is man's best force.
Hold on. Man's best force? How can evil be our best force?
This is crucial. Evil for Nietzsche isn't about cruelty or malice. It's the disruptive, untamed, creative, and destructive energy that breaks old laws and old values.
So it's the force that allows for radical change, for surpassing man. It's evil only from the perspective of the old established order.
Exactly. That's why he teaches man must become better and eviler. The evilest is necessary for the Superman's best.
It's about integrating the shadow, the dangerous parts of ourselves, to become a more complete and powerful being.
Yes, he contrasts himself with the preacher of the petty people who suffers from man's sin. Zarathustra says, I, however, rejoice in great sin as my great consolation.
Because a great sin is a sign that someone is powerful enough to defy the established morality.
He's aware of how provocative and easily misunderstood this is.
Very. And he wants to be clear that he's not there to comfort the higher men or make their lives easier.
He's not a self-help guru. In fact, he says the opposite.
He asks, Think ye that I am here to put right what ye have put wrong? Or that I wist henceforth to make snugger couches for you sufferers?
The answer is a resounding nay, nay, 3 times nay.
His prophecy for them is harsh. Always more, always better ones of your type shall succumb. For ye shall always have it worse and harder.
Why? Why must it be worse and harder for the best of humanity?
Because, he says, thus only groweth man aloft to the height where the lightning striketh and shattereth him, high enough for the lightning.
So suffering and danger are the necessary conditions for growth. You have to grow tall enough to attract the lightning, to risk complete destruction in order to reach the heights.
And he distances himself from their many little short miseries. He says they don't suffer enough because they only suffer from themselves, not yet from man.
meaning they haven't yet taken on the whole burden of humanity on their shoulders. His suffering is greater.
And this lightning he talks about, he doesn't want to just avoid it or conduct it away safely.
He wants to harness it. He says the lightning shall learn to work for me.
His wisdom, he says, is a storm cloud gathering, becoming stiller and darker, preparing to bear lightnings.
So his wisdom isn't a gentle candle. It's a destructive, illuminating bolt of lightning meant to shock the world.
Yes, he says he will not be a light for the men of today. Instead, lightning of my wisdom, put out their eyes.
He wants to blind them to their old ways of seeing.
It's a very aggressive form of enlightenment, shaking people out of their complacency.
Next, he offers a warning about ambition. Do not will anything beyond your power. There is a bad falseness in those who will beyond their power.
This seems to contradict the idea of striving for the Superman. Isn't that willing beyond our power?
It's a subtle point. He's warning against pretending. He's talking about subtle false coiners and stage players who talk about great things but are inwardly false.
So it's about authenticity. You should strive for greatness, but not posture as great before you've earned it.
Exactly. He says these people awaken distrust in great things, and he prizes honesty above all else, calling it precious and rare.
He contrasts this with the populace, which he says is innocently crooked. It ever lies.
Because they don't know the difference between what is great and small, straight and honest. This leads to his next piece of advice. Have a good distrust today, ye higher men.
Distrust of whom? The populace?
Yes, and he says to keep your reasons secret from them. What the populace once learned to believe without reasons, who could refute it to them by means of reasons?
That's a cynical but probably accurate take on public debate. He says on the marketplace, you convince with gestures, not reasons.
And even when truth triumphs there, he says to ask with distrust, what strong error hath fought for it?
Wow. So even a correct outcome might be based on a flawed popular delusion.
He also warns them to be on guard against the learned, the scholars.
Why them? You'd think they would be allies.
He says they hate you because they are unproductive. He sees them as sterile, with cold, withered eyes.
They can analyze and critique, but they can't create.
And he criticizes their claim to objectivity. Freedom from fever is still far from being knowledge. Refrigerated spirits, I don't believe in.
He's saying you need passion, fever, to truly know something. And he concludes, he who cannot lie doth not know what truth is.
It's the idea that to understand truth, you must also understand its opposite, its absence, the possibility of its perversion. It takes a certain depth.
It's a very demanding vision of intellectual honesty.
Next, he gives a powerful metaphor about self-reliance. If ye would go up high, then use your own legs. Do not get yourselves carried aloft.
Do not seat yourselves on other people's backs and heads. Don't be a parasite on others' efforts or ideas.
He then extends the metaphor. Thou hast mounted, however, on horseback, but thy lame foot is also with thee on horseback.
So even if you use a tool or an advantage, the horse, you still carry your own weaknesses with you, the lame foot.
And when you reach your goal, your height, and you get off the horse, then wilt thou stumble. Your own weakness will trip you up in the end if you haven't dealt with it.
So true ascent has to be your own, every step.
This theme of personal creation continues. He tells the creating ones, the higher men, that one is only pregnant with one's own child.
You can only give birth to what is authentically yours.
And he urges them to unlearn, I pray you, this for. Don't create for your neighbor or for a cause.
That seems to contradict every moral teaching we've ever heard. Everything is supposed to be for the good of others.
He says that idea, for one's neighbor, is the virtue only of the petty people. For them, it's transactional. Hand washeth hand.
But the higher men, the creators, have a different duty.
Yes, he says, in your self-seeking, ye creating ones, there is the foresight and foreseeing of the pregnant. Your self-seeking is actually love for your creation, your child.
So your work, your will, your creation, that is your true neighbor. Your responsibility is to the future you are trying to bring into being.
And this process of creation, of giving birth, is not clean or pleasant. Whoever hath to give birth is sick. Whoever hath given birth, however, is unclean.
He says, the pain maketh hens and poets cackle. It's a messy, agonizing process.
Because of this, he tells the creators, in you there is much uncleanliness. That is because ye have had to be mothers. After creating, he who hath given birth shall wash his soul.
A period of purification is necessary after the intense, messy work of bringing something new into the world.
Then comes a warning about overreaching, but in a different way. Be not virtuous beyond your powers.
Don't try to be something you're not, essentially. Know your nature.
He says to walk in the footsteps of your father's virtues. How would you rise high if your father's will should not rise with you?
This sounds surprisingly traditional for Nietzsche. Honor your heritage?
It's about acknowledging your innate disposition. He gives an example. If your fathers were inclined to women, strong wine, and meat, it would be folly for you to demand total chastity of yourself.
So trying to be a saint against your own nature is just a different kind of falseness.
Yes, he says even if such a person founded a monastery, it would be a new folly. He doesn't believe in it. Solitude, he warns, just grows what you bring into it, also the brute in one's nature.
He ends that thought by asking, hath there ever been anything filthier on earth than the saints of the wilderness? Around them was not only the devil loose, but also the swine.
A harsh critique of asceticism that denies rather than masters one's own nature.
So after all these warnings and harsh truths, the tone seems to shift. He starts talking about failure.
Yes, he sees them slink aside like a tiger whose spring has failed. They've failed at a cast of the dice.
But he says, what doth it matter, ye dice players? Ye had not learned to play and mock as one must play and mock. He's telling them not to take their failure so seriously. Life is a great game. If you fail, or if man fails, well then, never mind.
That's surprisingly light-hearted after all the talk of abysses and lightning.
It's a crucial turn. He reassures them, the higher its type, always the seldomer doth the thing succeed. Ye higher men here, have ye not all been failures?
He's normalizing their failure. It's not a bug, it's a feature of being a higher type.
And what's the solution? Learn to laugh at yourselves as you ought to laugh.
Laughter as a form of overcoming, of resilience.
He tells them not to be surprised they failed because man's future is striving and struggling inside them. Their inner life is a chaotic vessel where all of humanity's highest potentials are foaming together.
What wonder that many a vessel shattereth. Of course they break under that pressure.
So again, learn to laugh at yourselves. But he also tells them to find hope. How rich is this earth in small, good, perfect things?
He advises them to surround themselves with these things, because the perfect teaches one to hope.
And this theme of laughter versus sadness leads him to a critique of religion, specifically Christianity.
He asks what the greatest sin on earth has been, and his answer is, the word of him who said, "Woe unto them that laugh now."
A direct quote from Jesus in the Gospel of Luke. Zarathustra's response is he himself find no cause for laughter on the earth? Then he sought badly.
He's saying that a worldview that condemns laughter is a worldview that hasn't looked at the world properly.
He claims this figure didn't love sufficiently. All great love doth not seek love, it seeketh more.
Meaning, a great love is overflowing and creative. It doesn't need reciprocation. But this figure raged because people didn't love him.
He calls these absolute ones a poor, sickly type who look at life with ill will and have an evil eye for this earth. And because they have heavy feet and sultry hearts, they do not know how to dance.
And there it is, the central metaphor of the end of the book, dancing.
Yes. He contrasts the heavy-footed absolute ones with his own philosophy. Tortuously do all good things come nigh to their goal. Like cats they curl their backs. All good things laugh.
There's a lightness, a grace, a playfulness to success.
And he, however, who cometh nigh to his goal, danceth. He declares that he is not a stiff, stony statue or pillar. I love fast racing.
He's motion, dynamism, and lightness. He can run over mud and dance on ice because he has light feet.
So he exhorts the higher men, lift up your hearts, my brethren, higher, and don't forget your legs. Lift up also your legs, ye good dancers.
And then he declares that he has crowned himself with this philosophy.
This crown of the laughter, this rose garland crown, I myself have put on this crown. I myself have consecrated my laughter.
He is Zarathustra, the dancer, the light one, the sooth laugher, not impatient, not absolute, but one who loves leaps and side leaps.
He's the embodiment of this joyful wisdom, and he acknowledges that it can be awkward. He says even heavy animals can be happy, like an elephant trying to stand on its head.
The point being, better to be foolish with happiness than foolish with misfortune. Better to dance awkwardly than walk lamely.
It's an encouragement to just try, to embrace the joyful, even if you're clumsy at it.
So the final lesson is to unlearn sorrow sighing and all the populous sadness.
Yes, he calls them to be like the wind, an unruly spirit that dances on its own terms, hostile to thistleheads and puzzleheads, the rigid and over-serious.
A wild, good, free spirit of the storm that dances on swamps and afflictions as if they were meadows.
This spirit is the laughing storm that blows dust in the eyes of the melancholic. And this brings him to his final diagnosis of the higher men.
What is their worst quality in his eyes?
Ye higher men, the worst thing in you is that ye have none of you learned to dance as you ought to dance beyond yourselves.
To transcend their own seriousness, their own failures, their own suffering, through this act of joyful, laughing dance.
Exactly. So he repeats his core message. So learn to laugh beyond yourselves. Lift up your hearts, ye good dancers, high, higher, and don't forget the good laughter.
And he ends by giving them this new symbol of value, not a crown of thorns, but a crown of roses and laughter.
He says, this crown of the laughter, this rose garland crown, to you, my brethren, do I cast this crown. Laughing have I consecrated. Ye higher men, learn, I pray you, to laugh.
What a powerful and unexpected conclusion. The path to surpassing man isn't just about suffering and willpower, but about achieving a kind of divine lightness. It's about learning to laugh.
That's the ultimate overcoming. And that's a perfect place to leave it for today. Join us next time on Philosophy Unpacked.